Today we're making pizza. So first of all you need a mixing bowl, a pizza tray or a baking tray, a measuring jug, a sharp knife, a rolling pin, a spoon, it can be dessert or tablespoon, and a chopping board. You need to put your oven on 180 to 200 degrees centigrade or gas mark 6. The ingredients you need are like a bolognese sauce. I'm using peppers and I'm using tomatoes and an onion. These can be optional, up to you what you want to use. I'm using a mozzarella cheese and some form of cooked meat. I'm also going to be using a pizza base mix, but I'll come to that in a sec. Right, so the pizza base mix, I bought this from Asda. It's a ready-made mix that's already got the yeast in it. However, if you have bread flour at home and you don't want to buy the pizza base mix, then you can use 250 grams of strong plain bread flour with 7 grams of yeast and 125 millilitres of warm water. With this one, I'm following the instructions on the back of the packet and I only need 100 millilitres of warm water. The warm water must be warm, not hot, because hot will kill the yeast, cold will not activate it. It needs to be your body temperature. Okay, I'm going to add half of the water into the mixture to start off with and just mix it in with the fingertips, just to bring the mixture together with the water and the dry ingredients. And to this, I'm then going to add another half a jug of what's left of the water. I'm not adding it all in at once because sometimes if you add too much in, it goes like porridge at the bottom of the bowl and you can't do anything with the dough. Right, so this will pull together now into a dough. What you're making here effectively is bread. Okay, the water's warm, so the yeast will activate. As the yeast needs warmth to grow and give off carbon dioxide through the process of fermentation. Giving off the carbon dioxide will push air bubbles into the bread and make it rise. Okay, so once you've got your dough mixed together so that it forms a ball like this, clean your fingers of the dough, wash your hands before you start to knead it. So there you go, wash my hands, and on a floured worktop, you can just use ordinary plain flour for this, you're going to knead the bread dough to make it nice and smooth. Okay, now when you knead the dough, you need to use the heel of your hand, pull it over with your fingertips and then push it into the worktop and stretch it. Fold it over, push and stretch. Fold it over, push and stretch. Okay, and what you're doing when you're doing this is you're actually starting to work the protein that's in the flour called gluten, and that will start to stretch. And as that stretches, it creates like a matrix inside the dough, so that when the yeast ferments and gives off the carbon dioxide, it starts to get trapped within that gluten and protein matrix and starts to push the dough up to make it rise. Okay, now you need to do this for about 10 minutes until the dough is nice and smooth. All right, and once you've kneaded it and you've got it nice and smooth like this, it's time to roll it. So I have actually kneaded it for 10 minutes, but I've edited it, obviously. Okay, so get it into a nice small round. A little bit of flour on the table, a little bit of flour on your rolling pin, using equal pressure on both sides of the rolling pin. Start from the middle and work to the end and back towards you. Okay, keeping equal pressure. Then do a quarter turn and get the same again, working from the middle out to the edges. What you want is a nice flat dough. And again, quarter turn. Keep turning it. It will stick if you don't keep turning it. Okay, a little bit more flour if it's needed. Keep working it, keep turning it until you get it to the size that it'll fit on your tray. Now, if you're using a pizza tray, then try and keep it as round as you can. If you're using an oblong tray, then you might find that you need to have it a slightly different shape. Make sure it doesn't go too big so that it overlaps the sides of the tray. You don't want that. You obviously want it to fit on properly. Okay, now I'm going to make this quite thin because it is going to rise in the oven. I'm going to be proving it in the grill. So if you have an oven with a grill above it, then you need to put this into the grill to prove, not into the oven. Do not put it in the oven. If you haven't got a grill above your oven, put it somewhere warm so that it can rise for about 20 minutes. Okay, so you can see that this is nice and ready and ready to go on my baking tray. I'm going to flour the baking tray just to make sure that it doesn't stick, and I'm going to put this somewhere warm to prove. Do not put it in the oven. So whilst it's proving, I'm going to prepare the ingredients to go on the top. Now, I want to see some vegetables on your pizzas. Now, it's up to you what vegetables you put on. I'm choosing tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and I'm just going to halve these. You can use one large tomato and slice it and just have tomato with the cheese on there. You can use sweet corn, you can put mushrooms on. I want a bit of contrasting colour, so I'm going to put a few slices of the of yellow pepper on. Again, you don't have to use pepper. You could use chilli. You could use olives. There is just so many different ingredients that you can put on a pizza. Pineapple, I know it's fruit, but you could use pineapple as well, and it will count as one of your 5 a day. All right, so I'm slicing this up nice and thinly. I use the bridge cut for the tomatoes. I'm now using the claw cut for the pepper. I'm also going to put some red onion on. You could put spring onions on. You could put some crushed garlic on. So with the onion, again, going through preparation, top, hairy bottom, cut the top off, not the bottom. Okay, cut it and then peel it. Notice I'm peeling to the side of my chopping board because I don't want all this peel and bits of papery stuff on mixed in with all the ingredients that I'm going to put on the top of my pizza. Okay, I'm doing the prep whilst the pizza is proving. You might have all the preparation done before the pizza is ready, so just leave it a little bit longer until it's slightly gone a bit thicker. I'm only going to use half of this onion, and I'm going to use the claw to slice it nice and finely. Okay, I'm using a red onion because it's slightly sweeter, but as I say, you could use gherkins if you wanted, if you liked something like gherkins on your pizza. And then I'm going to use this mozzarella. Now this is a mozzarella that comes in water in a bag. Okay, now I'm opening it over a bowl so you can see that you need to do this over a sink because all this water needs to be poured out. Okay, you can see that's what preserves the cheese and keeps it nice and soft. Okay, so you need to open that over the sink so you don't get it all over your worktop. You can of course use cheddar cheese or any form of cheese that you prefer. It doesn't have to, you don't have to go out and buy mozzarella. It's just that I've got the mozzarella here. This is like a buffalo mozzarella. So with this, you don't need to grate it. You can just tear it. If you were going to use cheddar cheese, you can grate it. I'm using a bolognese sauce as the base, and I'm also going to use some pepperoni. Okay, so my pizza has risen slightly. I don't want a big thick base on it, but some of you might do, so you can leave it in a bit longer. Right, I'm using the bolognese sauce because it gives a better taste, a better finish. This is just a tomato with basil. And then what you don't use, you can make a pasta dish with it afterwards. Okay, so I'm using 2 or 3 spoonfuls of this over the top. You don't go mad with it. If you put too much on, it's going to be a soggy base. Try and keep it away from the edges. Leave it so that it's not completely right up to the edges, because it will, as it warms up, spread a little bit, and you don't want it sticking to the side of your tin. The next thing I'm going to add to this is going to be some of the cheese. I'm not going to add all of the cheese because I'm going to put some of it on the top. So I'm just tearing it off. But if you've grated cheddar cheese, put some of the grated cheddar cheese on the bottom. Some of you might want to use grated cheddar cheese on the bottom and then use mozzarella on the top. It's entirely up to you. It's your pizza. You're going to eat it, so you make it suitable for your flavour, your tastes and your likes and dislikes. Okay, so I'm just tearing this and just spreading it equally, but I'm keeping it away from the edge of the pizzas. Notice I've still got that centimetre edge around the edge of the dough so that it can spread a little bit. Then I'm going to add the onion, and you can add your additional toppings in whichever order you want to do, but make sure that your toppings are not piled up into a pyramid in the middle. Make sure that they're equally spread around the pizza. If they're piled up like a pyramid in the middle of your pizza base will not cook. It'll be soggy and not very nice to eat. I'm putting tomatoes on, spreading them out nice and evenly, and then I'm going to finish off with the cooked meat. It can be chicken, it can be anything, it can be bacon, it can be anything that you choose. I've got this spicy pepperoni because this is what my partner is going to be eating, because those of you that know me know I don't eat meat. I'm going to make another pizza, but I'm not videoing it, for myself, that's going to be using vegan mozzarella and also olives instead of the meat. Okay, because that's one of the things that I like. And then I'm going to finish off the mozzarella on the top, just to give it a little bit of a coating of cheese on the top of the meat so that it gives a bit of a better colour and finish to it. Okay, now I can leave this to prove for a little bit longer in the kitchen if you're not ready to bake it, or it can go straight into the oven. Once cooked, 20 minutes later, you end up with a dish like this. Okay, now if you've kept it from the edge, you should be able to easily just take it off the tray. Okay, and then I've got my trusty pizza wheel, and I'm going to just cut it into 6 pieces. Okay, it is red hot, and I'm just going to slice it up, and then I will serve it on a warm plate for it to be eaten. Okay, so that's my finished pizza. Enjoy.